In July 1994, the Lithuanian Parliament passed a law on the participation of Lithuanian troops in international missions. At that same time, selection of volunteers was conducted, and candidates underwent examinations for health and physical training. Some 250 troops expressed their wish to take part in the peacekeeping mission, but only 94 candidates were selected. In the middle of July 1994, Danish officers and soldiers arrived in Lithuania to provide training to Lithuanian troops in peacekeeping techniques and tactics. The Rukla-based training area became a zone controlled by the United Nations, where training was concentrated on peacekeeping techniques. The two confronting countries were torn by ethnic, religious, and political conflict. Croatia was devastated and exhausted in 1994 when Litpla I peacekeepers arrived in the country. This was the third year of the war between Serbs and Croatians. While Lithuanian peacekeepers were en route to the Kostanica-based headquarters of the Danish battalion, they found no signs of life and many ruined villages and abandoned houses. Every day, 10 or more violators would cross the 25-post separation zone that was controlled by Danish and Lithuanian soldiers. The peacekeepers stood between the two factions. On one side there were Serbs, while on the other Croatians, ready to cross a post. It was necessary for each officer to overcome this psychological challenge if he wanted to advance his military skills, wrote Captain Arturas Trepko, commander of the Lithuanian platoon. For nearly 18 months, Lithuanian platoons Litpla I, II, and III took part in the United Nations-led missions in Croatia as part of the Danish peacekeeping battalion. It did not matter that there were only 100 Lithuanian troops among 39,000 other peacemakers. The peace in Croatia was also kept by Lithuania. Underlined NATO senior military and political commanders. After the Dayton Treaty, a mandate from the United Nations was handed over to NATO forces. Together with their Danish counterparts, Lithuanian troops left for engagement in NATO's peace implementation mission. This peacekeeping mission in the Balkans involved 60,000 NATO troops. From the beginning of the conflict in the region, 250,000 people were killed or missing, and another 3 million were forced to abandon their homes. The Lithuanian peacemakers' post was based in an area where the front line passed through. Within a 2-kilometer span, Serbs were fighting on one side and Muslims from the other. It was there that major clashes between Serbs and Muslims took place. All around there were ambushes, destroyed buildings, and houses with no signs of life. However, the greatest danger faced by the peacemakers were mines. It is believed that some 4 million mines were hidden underground by the conflicting forces in Bosnia. Since the introduction of the NATO mission, 22 peacekeepers from various nations have lost their lives. The peace in Bosnia was also marked by the death of a Lithuanian soldier. In April 1996, the sad news arrived that First Lieutenant Normandas Valteras had met his death while on patrol in the Danish-controlled zone. After Lieutenant Valterra's death, a grievous mood prevailed over the platoon. Eventually, expressions of thanks by the local residents, longing for peace and quietness, constituted the essence of their mission. Only one short furlough was granted to soldiers within the 6-month mission, and messages from home or the ministry, plus visits by the chiefs of defense, helped relieve the troops' mood. Even on the front line, there had been pleasant moments at the Lithuanian-controlled posts, surrounded by minefields. For most of the Lithuanian peacekeepers, this mission was not their first involvement abroad. The troops from Litpla IV were later replaced by a Baltbat company and other units. The total number of Lithuanian troops involved at that time in the United Nations and NATO-led peacekeeping mission numbered over 600. After ethnic contentions in Bosnia and Herzegovina, a new conflict had outraged in Kosovo. Once again, NATO troops had to intervene. Lithuanian peacekeepers also served alongside the Polish-Ukrainian battalion. In October 1999, Lithuanian peacekeepers left for a mission in Kosovo as part of the Polen Corvette. There is no exercise in which you can gain experience as that which you learn while in a risk zone with a gun in your hand, said soldiers expressing their hope that more Lithuanian troops would be given the opportunity to gain such experience. The idea to create a joint Lithuanian-Polish peacekeeping battalion was formed in 1996 during a meeting between Lithuanian President Brzezinski and Polish President Alexander Kwasniewski in Gdynia, Poland. A year later, an intergovernmental agreement on the establishment of the joint battalion was signed. These were the first steps for Lithuanian and Polish peacekeepers to serve in peacekeeping missions as a joint unit. Today, 30 troops from the Lithuanian National Defense Volunteer Forces serve in the Polish-Ukrainian Battalion in Kosovo province. This is the 10th Lithuanian platoon that has performed in this region. Over 400 Lithuanian troops have served in Kosovo. NATO chiefs often commend the professionalism of Lithuanian peacekeepers. Most important tasks are delegated to Lithuanian troops in Kosovo province. Most important tasks are delegated to Lithuanian troops in Kosovo province. The tasks range from rendering humanitarian assistance to the local civil population to monitoring the Macedonian border and other important assets. From March 2001 until July 2003, a Lithuanian AN-26 Air Force transport aircraft was deployed in Naples, Italy in support of NATO-led K4 and S4 missions. During these missions, the plane and crew transported over 13,000 military personnel and some 400 tons of cargo across the Balkan region. The terrorist attacks against the United States on September the 11th, 2001 rocked the world at a time when ethnic, religious, and political flames had not yet been suppressed in the very center of Europe, the Balkans. In response, having received a UN mandate, the United States has undertaken to capture Osama bin Laden, the mastermind of the terrorist attack, and has managed to topple the Taliban regime in Afghanistan. In November 2002, the first unit of the Lithuanian Special Forces departed for Afghanistan to join U.S.-led troops as part of Operation Enduring Freedom. The Lithuanian troops would carry out special reconnaissance tasks. While on their missions, they gathered information on possible terrorist acts and opposition operations. After joining the operation in Iraq, Lithuania had intended to terminate its contribution to the mission in Afghanistan. But the U.S. military command, upon evaluation of the professionalism shown by the Lithuanian soldiers, asked their continuing participation in the operation. In August 2004, a fourth unit consisting of 38 troops and 2 medical doctors left for Iraq. Lithuanian military medical personnel have been serving in United Nations and NATO-led international operations since 1995. While on missions, Lithuanian military physicians render qualified medical assistance not only to military personnel, but local residents. They have managed to save the lives of several citizens of Bosnia, Afghanistan, and Iraq. To ensure security and stability in Iraq, Lithuania has dispatched a 4th 54-strength platoon to join the U.S. and Allied coalition Operation Iraqi Freedom as part of the Danish battalion contingent. The same number of Lithuanian volunteers is currently serving in the Polish-controlled area of responsibility. The Polish military chiefs commend Lithuanian soldiers because they are well qualified to meet challenges presented by these demanding operations. Lithuanian troops guard communications facilities, maintain public order, and assist in training Iraqi police forces at temperatures ranging between 50 and 60 degrees Celsius. Though the peace in Iraq is kept by thousands of alliance troops and the coalition-backing states, there is hardly a day that explosions do not roar in Baghdad, Basra, Fallujah, and other cities of Iraq. Local militants, supporters of Hussein, often detonate explosions at Allied headquarters, commit criminal acts at police stations, and organize kidnappings. Lieutenant Maria Stepanovic's, commander of the Lithuanian platoon, has been awarded the nation's highest award, the Knight's Cross of the Vitas Cross, for saving the lives of Lithuanian military personnel and Iraqi civil residents during a raid. The 24-year-old lieutenant rescued from ambush 13 Lithuanian troops who were serving near the city of Basra. For 10 years, Lithuanian peacekeepers have served on 14 international operations led by the United Nations, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, the European Union, and NATO.